This is my instructional video on how to work the Servo U. Just in case, I'll let you know where the on-off switch is, because this one's a bit confusing. So this is the side of the ventilator. There's a little drawer here. Well, I guess it's like a cabinet thing. You open it up. Down here there's a little like switch. You can't push it like that. You actually have to pull it down and then push it over to turn it on. So this will actually turn on the vent. So this is what it looks like. You can close that up. Your vent should have your oxygen hooked up, your medical air hooked up, and it also should have two plug-ins. One plug-in is for the actual physical vent, and the other plug-in is for your humidifier. So your humidifier has a different outlet than what your vent does. When you turn on the screen, this is what will come up. Do you want to start a pre-use check? Hit no. Then it says, do you want to change to a new patient and clear data from the previous patient? Hit no. So this is the main screen. So obviously this would be like worst case scenario if you had to do anything like this. But I'm just saying, if you ever did, this is where you hit for start ventilation. So I'm just going to start it, and then we'll just forget that didn't happen. So again, we will go over what you guys will actually physically record. So in your flow sheet, if we go, and I'm referring to this ICU flow sheet, this part right here. So the first thing is the respiratory rate. So again, down here is all the set parameters, and up here is what the patient is actually physically doing. So everything is set down here. You can open this up too. Obviously this is something more for us, but the most things you need to know is just right here. And again, this is what the patient is doing. So for the respiratory rate, you will record 15. Next would be FiO2. They're on 100% FiO2. Again, you can see the rate here. This is what they're doing. So they're not breathing anything above the vent. And they're also getting 100% oxygen. After that is the tidal volume. We have it set at 500, but remember I told you before, you record what they exhale. So 479. Again, we're using a test lung, so it'll be a bit off, but in some of our patients, it is going to be off. So don't freak out if you got it set at 500 and that's what they're getting, because sometimes you will see a difference. Next is your minute ventilation. So that is, let me look, right here, sorry, right here. So your minute ventilation is right here, MVE. So again, I wrote that down on your sheets. I also printed off this stuff and laminated it. The next thing, I'm trying to look at the sheet, is your PIPs. So that's your peak inspiratory pressure. So you would record this right here. P peak is right here. Underneath that is your set pressure. So remember again, I said you can only write in set pressure if you're actually in pressure control mode. So right now we're in a pressure release volume control mode. So I'm just going to change this, go into modes. I'm just going to change this to pressure control so you can see what I'm talking about. So this is what you would record. So it says on this right here, I'm sorry, this video might be horrid. Right here, see? Pressure control set pressure. So that is what you would set right here. And then this one here would be your peak pressure. All right? And just note that, see how your pressure is 21 and your PEEP of 5, and that's why you're getting 26, because it will be your set pressure plus your PEEP will give you this. And this, again, might change if your patient's coughing, blah, blah, blah. So the next thing then is your PEEP. So we just talked about your PEEP. That is your set PEEP. It will also give you a parameter up here of PEEP. But you guys, for this instance, would monitor that one. Well, should say record it. And then your PSV. Remember I talked about PSV when we had our little in-service.